guys have said that the close is pretty aggressive. So we backed off on that and actually have sat down in the last 3 weeks, sat down and looked at a different close. So here's the close we looked at. First of all, over the last 2 years, we looked at why are people, why don't they make appointments? So guys, why don't you type in some reasons why you think that people will not make appointments at, and again, our average appointment is about 50%, but we want higher than 50% if we can get it, right? So why are the other 50% not making appointments? What kind of reasons do they give us for not making appointments? So, and then Missy, I might need your help here to read the comments.
Okay, I'll be right there.
So why, guys? So I have a chat. Is that what I'd be looking at, or questions? Where's that? Oh, wasn't me. It's not there. Well, then you'll have to read the questions for me then. Oh, sorry guys, it's not showing up on my screen, so she'll read those out. So, the 2 reasons people don't make appointments is, number 1 is there's no urgency, and number 2, they're afraid of making appointments. So what I mean by no urgency is this, is they think, hey, these are good ideas, hey, these would be good things to do. So when we go through the ideas to put them in a better position, they all think those are a better idea, right? And if we had a magic wand, they'd all want to incorporate those ideas in their life, right? But we don't have a magic wand. So if we don't have a magic wand, why are they not setting appointments? Well, there's no urgency. They're living the life they want now. They've got the car they want. They're going on the vacations they want. They're seeing their grandchildren. They're golfing when they want. So there's no urgency really to make any make an appointment right now. They think, hey, we should probably meet with this guy later when we have more time. Even though they have all the time in the world, they think when we have more time. Also, oh, there we got questions. Awesome.
Are you able to see those, Mike?
Now I see them, yeah.
Okay. Don't want to obligate to change.
Yep, so I have to get this bigger. Yep, so why is it? Well, it's still not working for me, but and then the other thing is they're afraid to make an appointment. So they're afraid that if they make an appointment, that you're going to wrestle them to the floor and cause them to have to buy something from you. So I need it to be bigger so I can read it. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. We're getting all set up so I can see the comments. So do you understand why they don't want to make appointments? Because how many people don't want to have their taxes on their withdrawals from their IRAs and qualified accounts go down by 46%? Is there anybody that doesn't want their taxes not to go down by 46% when they pull money out of their qualified accounts? Is there anybody that doesn't want to pay 1.7% taxes on their investment income? Is there anybody that doesn't want to win-win-win? See, they want all these things, but they're half of them aren't making appointments. So half of them are, half of them aren't. So doing what we're going to talk about doing here, you'll still get the half that are making appointments, but we want much more of the half that aren't making appointments to make appointments as well. So what can we do about no urgency? So here's what we can do about no urgency. We use a dollar close. So what I mean by that is that I'm going to take just the two first, the tax SAD and the IRPA technique. The tax SAD and the IRPA technique from the think outside the box. And what I'm going to do is at the end is I'm going to actually quantify that in money. And I've filmed this for you guys, and it's on the website. I'll show you that here in a second. But basically what we're going to do is say, listen, folks, I want to show you exactly what we're talking about. How many of you have done any of these? I knew about these 5 things. Boom, boom, boom. Nobody knows. Anybody who's known about 4 of them, 3 of them, 2 of them, 1 of them? We've all said that these are things that we want to do, and they're all things that none of us know about. So why aren't we doing them? I want you to understand that if we don't do these things, what it costs you. So then I pull out a wad of $100 bills. Now, we've got a site where you can use fake $100 bills. They look like $100 bills, but they're an off color so that you don't get in trouble for counterfeiting. Or if you're a big spender, you can actually use real $100 bills. But what we're going to do is say, folks, I want to show you what it's costing you in real money for not doing these things. And I'm not even going to show you not doing all 5 of these things. Let's just talk about the first 2 things, the IRPA and the tax SAD technique. And I'm going to walk up to somebody and say, it's like somebody walking up to you. I'm going to count $100 bills. And it's like somebody walking up to you and walking up your driveway, ringing the doorbell, and counting out this money. And I'll go 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. That's for the tax, or that's for the IRPA. Because remember, we said that would save you $100,000 over the next 10 years. So $100,000 over the next 10 years, that's $10,000 a year, that's about $800 a month. And then we'll add another $100 for using the tax stat technique. So that's $900. I'm going to pick up that money and hand it to somebody. So how much did you have to work for that $900? Well, we didn't. And do you have to pay taxes on it? Remember, that's tax forgiveness, so do you have to pay taxes on it when taxes are forgiven? No, you don't. So how would you like to have somebody walk up to your doorbell, ring the doorbell, give you that? Didn't have to work for it? And no taxes on it. How much would you like to do? And then, oh wait, next month, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900. Next month they do the same thing. And the next month, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, boom. Next month, same thing. And people, we are not even talking about items 3, 4, and 5. Those items, if the market falls 50%, if there's an ugly surprise where you're overseas and on vacation and it costs you $100,000 to get back, or you have a medical emergency, or if we're not even talking about those things. If those things happen, I don't have enough $100 bills here. I need a wheelbarrow full of $100 bills to show you how much money you would save then. So just these two would be like $900 a month in your hand. No taxes, no work, every month, like clockwork. And we're not even talking about the other three things. That's what I'm talking about when how much it's costing you. Every month you wait, it's $900 out of your pocket and into the government's. So that's how we're going to create urgency, by turning it into real money. Does that make sense? And then the second, any questions on that, guys? Any questions on that? Okay. So the second thing we're going to do is, let's see here. Okay, good. So the second thing is they're afraid that we're going to what? Wrestle them to the ground and try to sell them something. So what we're going to do, whoops, go back up here, is I'm going to actually say, folks, have you ever been to a, have you ever had your wife come to you and say, or your spouse come to you and say, we have to go to a cocktail party here next Monday? And you're like, ugh, I don't want to go to that. It's all the way across town. It means I'm going to miss Monday Night Football. It's with people I don't even know. It's going to be horrible. And then you end up going to the cocktail party, and what happens? What happens when you go to that cocktail party, guys? You're just dreading going to it, and then how much fun do you end up having? It ends up being fun. So, folks, the reason some people don't make appointments with me is they think that when they're going to come in, I'm going to wrestle them to the ground and try to make them buy something. But let's just be straight here. First of all, even if you wanted to do these things, you can't do them. So let's set some realistic expectations. These 5 things that we talked about here, none of them can be completed in one meeting. I mean, they're all simple, they're all easy, but they can't be completed in one meeting. So we're going to have to get together more than once. So getting together with me is not about doing these things. It's about learning about them. And then once you learn about them, guess what? Some people will do them with me. Some people will take them home and do them with their current advisor. Heck, you could even go home and call up somebody in the Yellow Pages and do them. But if you don't know about them, you can't move forward with them. So, folks, I'm hoping you had a fairly good time today, did you? Well, I'm no different when you come to see me. I don't turn into a monster when you come to see me. I just simply give you this information, and then you can go home and decide if you want to do it. And if you want to do it, you can do it with me, you can do it with your current advisor, or you can do it with some guy from the Yellow Pages. But if you don't know how to do these things, guess what you can't do? And if you aren't doing them now, it means you don't know about them. Because if you did, how many of you would be doing that? So, folks, please stop walking away from this $900 every single month that you wait. Come to see me, learn how these things are done, and then do it with whoever you want to do it with. So that's the new close. And if I'm going to get the, I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so if you go to the, think outside the box right here. Is everybody seeing that? Is everybody seeing the website? Give me some yeses, please.
Yep, we're able to see it.
Okay, so I click on that, and then I'm going to go down to video training. See video training here? Click on that, and then there's the outside the box bill, $100. So the new close that I've just shown you, and the new presentation has taken out the old more confrontational slides and replace these in here. So you're going to see the new close here, and then the PowerPoint has been updated as well. So I've got a lot of great feedback from the couple guys that have used this. It's much easier, more effective, and much more pleasant for everybody involved. So any questions on that? When are you going to address the 5 things? The 5 things are already addressed in the whole workshop, Andy. So Andy, the 5 things are in the event. So this is not about going through the event. It's just about the 5-10 minute close that we're talking about today. Okay?
And that page, Mike, also does have the where they can purchase those $100 bills. So if you click on that, that'll open up. That's got the full link to the $100 bills. That's that big long one on bank supplies. Yep.
Yep.
And the
So there's one
is up top.
And I just heard from another guy said there's actually another dollar bill place that actually has dollar bills that look even more realistic that you can put your face on if you so chose. But you can search online for that. So yeah, I've got some people saying they've already ordered some money. So ordered these dollars. So great. So that's my pointer for the day. That's up on the website. So let me get out of here and go back to the PowerPoint. So Andy, you get that? Andy was asking about the 5 things. The 5 things are addressed in the actual Think Outside the Box event, and so we're not going through that today. That's all on the website, all in the manual, all of those things. So this is just about the 10-minute close that we're talking about that we've changed. So everybody cool with that? Okay. So today we're going to talk about power of attorney. So, and the reason the power of attorney is so important is this. It can turn, well, let me just go through some problems here that people have had. Social Security. So a lot of people have done Social Security. It's a really hot thing out there right now. But I've talked to a ton of guys that have worked with a lot of other FMOs on their Social Security programs, and they've gotten in front of people. 2 problems with getting in front of people with Social Security. Number 1 is that a lot of the people there don't have very much money. But number 2, the people that do have money, guess why they're coming to see you guys? So if you do a Social Security event and they show up to your office, what do they want? So let's see some answers in this. What do they want when they come? Info only, Eric says, exactly right. So when you try to go from Social Security planning to talking about their investments, guess what they do? They get angry. Why? Because they came for the Social Security information. That's it. They came for the Social Security information, and when you try to convert it they say, I already have an investment advisor. That's not what you promised. So I've talked to a lot of guys from other FMOs that have had real problems with Social Security seminars simply because when they come in, all the people want is the Social Security planning. They don't want the people to talk about their investments at all. But here's the thing. You can actually convert them very, very easily to talking about the investments. And that's where the guys that are using our Social Security system as an additional, not as the primary, because you still have the problem of not getting in front of a lot of people without a lot of money. But if you want to do these on Saturday mornings, they're inexpensive, they're easy to do. You won't make nearly as much as I Think Outside the Box, but if it's cheaper, a little thing you can do on Saturday, it's a nice little add-on. But what we do is we can convert them when they come in from Social Security. We can convert them to talking about or going through our regular 21-point checklist. Guess how we do that? How do we convert them from only wanting Social Security? If you talk about anything else except Social Security and bite your head off, how do we convert them from that person into somebody that wants to go through the 21-point checklist? Here's how we do it. We say, well, one of the things when you come in to talk about Social Security is you need to bring your power of attorney in. So why would somebody need power of attorney if we're going to talk about Social Security, guys? Why would somebody need why is the power of attorney important if we talk about Social Security planning, guys? So if you're doing any Social Security planning, you better understand this. With Social Security planning, what do we have them do? We have them what? Stop and start their Social Security at particular times. If you're incapacitated and you're supposed to start or stop the Social Security and you're incapacitated and they don't have a power of attorney that works for you, guess what? What happens to all your Social Security planning? It goes right down the drain. So that's why you tell them why you need the power of attorney. So when you look at the power of attorney, you're going to be able to find 5 things wrong almost immediately by looking at it. And we're going to go through those here in a few minutes. But the nice thing is you can say, well, after looking at their power of attorney for just 1 or 2 minutes, you say, wow, there's several things I found that are not up to date here, ways that you might not be able to do Social Security planning. In fact, I've seen some things here where you might not be able to get money when you need it the most. And they say, can I make a recommendation, folks? I've looked at your power of attorney here for about 3 minutes. I found 5 things wrong with it already. Here's the thing. I recommend that all my clients go through a 21-point checklist, and what it looks for is all of these little things like that we find, like for example, in the power of attorney, there's 21 things that we look at to make sure we don't get ourselves in a pickle. Make sure we dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. If I've already found 3 things in your power of attorney in just in a few minutes, I know that I'm going to find lots of other things. And folks, do you think it's the big things that kill you or the little things that kill you? So here's the thing. Before we even do Social Security planning, it would be worthless to do Social Security planning if we leave these other things undone. So let's do this. I normally charge for this, but I will not charge you for this since you came to the Social Security event. Let's just go through the 21-point checklist, and it takes about a couple of meetings to do that, and we'll find all these little things. And again, if I found 3 things in your power of attorney in just a couple of minutes, I know I'm going to find lots of other things, and it's those little things that kill you. Let's go through that 21-point checklist. What do you say, folks? So when you do that, guess what? Now you went from talking about only about Social Security to getting in the 21-point checklist, and the 21-point checklist is what's going to get them to move all their money to you from their current advisor. Do you get that? Any questions on that, guys? So that's how you can take them from a Social Security event into the 21-point checklist. Because if all you do is have a Social Security event and you try to convert them to the money, they're going to get angry at you. Does that make sense? Now, same thing for Medicare. I've had Medicare sup guys who have sold hundreds. I mean, I had one guy sold 400 Medicare sups in a year, and he wanted to go back to talk to those people. That's an awesome, awesome warm list, right? So answer this question, guys. When he went back to his clients that were Medicare sup clients, and he tried to get them to talk about their investments, what did those people say to him? And I want some answers here. What did those people say to him? So when he went back to his Medicare sup, no thanks. What do you mean by no thanks, RC? That's exactly what they said. Yeah, Bill, I'm not interested. So what they're saying is, yeah, RC, you're right, and Bill, you're right. So they're saying, listen, you're my Medicare sup guy. I've already got an investment guy. So let's not talk about my investments. Let's talk about my Medicare sup. But guess what you can do? That's right, Eric. I already have an investment guy. You're my insurance guy. But do you see how you could do the exact same thing with them with the power of attorney? You could say, well, because you could say, let's take a look at your power of attorney so that you're able to make these decisions with Medicare sup when you need to do those. Oh, wow, I've just found 3 things wrong with your power of attorney in just a couple of minutes. Wow, if we found just 3 things wrong with your power of attorney in a couple of minutes, I highly recommend we go to what I call a 21-point checklist, which I do with my clients. That, hey, we'll do it at no cost for you. It takes just a couple of meetings, and we'll see if what other things we can find. Because, you know, it's not the big things that kill you. It's the little things that kill you. So let's go. Do you see how you can then take them from just being a Medicare sub to the 21-point checklist? And when you get them the 21-point checklist, you do become their investment guy because you eliminate their current investment guy. Do you see what we're doing here? So this power of attorney is a very, very powerful thing that we can use. We can do it also with a referral. I mean, really, if anything, we've had guys do it with final expense, going from final expense clients. Because if you're a final expense guy and then you go to them and say, let's talk about your investments, what do they say then? No, I already have an investment guy. You're my final expense guy. Or if you go from, I mean, really anything. Property casualty. Property casualty, it works too. You're my property casualty guy. I already have an investment guy. Well, as a property casualty guy, you take them through, or you bring up the fact that you need to take a look at their power of attorney because it's necessary for property casualty because there may be claims need to be made, and you want to make sure that their spouse can make the claims for them even if they're incapacitated. And then when you look at it, oh, wow, there's 3 or 4 things I found that are wrong with it just in a couple of minutes. Let's go through the 21-point checklist. Does that make sense to everybody? So does everybody see? Do you show us how? Yeah, I'm about to do that, Michelle. So she wants to know, are you going to show us those 5 things? So we have been doing this for 13 years. I've been doing it, using it for 15 years, the power of attorney. I've yet to find a power of attorney that was right. And you find that it's impossible for a power of attorney to be right. Because a power of attorney is planning for things in the future. Can you plan? Let me ask you a question, guys. I want to see 3 or 4 answers in this. Can you plan for everything in the future? Is it possible to plan and cover everything possible in the future? No, you can't. So that's why all power of attorneys are wrong. Here's why. So where we purposely use the disclosure or the power of attorney in the disclosure meeting, but you see how it can be used in other ways as well to get people pulled into the 21-point checklist that otherwise would not want to go through that. But we actually formally use it in the power of attorney or in the disclosure meeting. So the first thing that makes all power of attorney are wrong is this, the gifting. And here's what I mean by that. You can't have it both ways with gifting. You can't have it both ways with gifting. So if I'm the agent or if I'm been given the power of attorney, the person whose power of attorney it is could have given me the power to gift, or prevented me from the power to gift. They can't do both, right? They can't prevent me from gifting and give me the give me the power to gift. They can't do both. So let's talk about that. So if they give me the power to gift, guess what I could do? I could gift all the money to myself, and then what happens to those accounts? If I gift all the money to myself, what's going to happen to all the other sons and daughters? What have I just done? I've wiped out the accounts, and who gets all the money? Me. Could that happen if I have the power to gift? Oh, but wait. What if it says I have the power to gift, but not to myself? Oh, super. So I can give all the money to the other kids, and all, but I can't, and I'm doing all the work, but I get none of the money. Would I want to do that? No. But then they could, well, I guess we could take care of that by saying I can't gift at all. But then what's the problem with that, guys? If I have a power of attorney where I cannot gift at all, let's see an answer on this. What's the problem if I have a power of attorney where I cannot gift at all? If they become incapacitated and I can't gift at all, oops. Guys, what's going to be the problems with that? Well, not probate. Remember, power of attorney is while they're still living. Guys, think about this. If I'm incapacitated and I'm in a long-term care facility, what's happening to all that money? It's going right down the drain, right? It's going right to the nursing home or right to the in-home care facility. So I need to be able to, could lose it to Medicaid, exactly, Andy. So I need to be gifting that out so I can qualify for Medicaid sooner rather than later. So you get how, because of gifting, I either have to give the ability to gift or not to gift. There could be things in the future either way that would cause that power of attorney to be wrong. So how do we get around that? Well, having a great financial advisor who's looking at the power of attorney every single time they get together and analyzing the family dynamics every single time that they get together, looking at who the agent for the power of attorney is and evaluating that every single time they get together. That's why. Okay? So let's see here. Updates is another thing that can be wrong with powers of attorney. Powers of attorney depends on what entity or institution you're going to use the power of attorney with. But I've seen powers of attorney now where institutions won't even accept them unless they're 3 months or younger. 3 months or younger. Some are 6 months, some are 1 year. But Jeff, what have you seen? I mean, Jeff Freeberg, what's the oldest you could have a power of attorney nowadays?
Usually about 2 years. 2 years would be about the max.
Would be the max, and I've seen it as young as three months and everywhere in between. So you need to have these things updated on a regular basis, because think about this. If I'm a bank, is there any reason I'd want to honor the power of attorney? No, because honor the power, does anybody ever use the power of attorney to deposit money into the bank, guys? No, what are they using the power of attorney to do? To take it, whoa, I've got 2 weeks. NFS brokerage is 2 weeks, says Eric Dorman. If the power of attorney is in 2 weeks or less, they won't accept it. And if you think about it, why won't an institution accept the power of attorney? There's no upside for them. The only thing people are using powers of attorney for is to take money out. So they're losing money when they honor the power of attorney. Also, if they honor the power of attorney and it ends up being incorrect or there was a later one or whatever else and there's a lawsuit, they're going to be held accountable. So they would have every reason not to honor power of attorney. Institutions have every reason not to honor power of attorney because there's no upside. They're losing the money, and there's a chance for them to be held liable for honoring a power of attorney that wasn't correct or for being sued by somebody who wasn't a power of attorney for blah, 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 blah. So they don't want to honor power of attorney. So it had better be updated. Does that make sense? Because how are they punished if they don't honor a power of attorney? How is an institution punished if they don't honor a power of attorney? They're not. The people that want them to honor the power of attorney take them to court, and then the court says, oh, bank, brokerage, insurance company, honor that power of attorney. And then after 3 or 4 months and lots and thousands of dollars of attorney fees, the court will say honor the power of attorney, and then those entities will honor the power of attorney. But are they punished for not honoring it? No, there's no punishment whatsoever. So you need to have these things updated on a regular basis, okay? Yeah, I understand. That's crazy. 2 weeks is crazy, but some of them are crazy. So again, you want to make sure who you're dealing with and what they require for that. So now we're at 2 reasons why power of attorney might be wrong. Also, the institution, government agency, Social Security Office and Veterans Administration, IRS, you must use that agency's special form, or durable power of attorney must have the special wording required by each agency's particular form. Jeff, have you ever seen a power of attorney that had the special wording required by Social Security offices, Veterans Administration, and the IRS all in that power of attorney?
No, I've not seen it.
Never. Never. Because guess what? Do you think the Social Security's is the same as the Veterans, is the same as the IRS's? Do you think, guys? No, it's the government. So now we're at what? 3, 4, 5 reasons the power of attorneys can be wrong. Banks and financial institutions, same type of problems. And if your institution's form allows for limited power of attorney, such as stock trading, your state may require 2 signatures. Do you look at that? So now we're at 6. Do these institutional powers of attorney erode the powers of attorney of your personal durable power of attorney? So if you do have an institutional power of attorney for that brokerage house or for that bank or for that insurance company, it may cause problems with your current general durable power of attorney. So is there any doubt now, guys, when I say I look at a power of attorney, that I can find 5, 6 things wrong with every power of attorney? Does anybody have a doubt that I could find things wrong with every single power of attorney? I want to see some answers to this. Michelle, that's not what I asked. Nope, no doubt. Okay, good. So now, here's the thing. These things I'm showing you, can you fix them? Is there a power of attorney that we can write that will cover what I say in the beginning? Is there anything out there that will cover every possible contingency in the future? No, Kevin, you're right. No, Bill says. So, powers of attorney are only as good as the advisor who understands how powers of attorney work. So what did I say? By reviewing the power of attorney every time you get together with them, that's how you keep a power of attorney as effective as possible. How many of you knew any of these things before you got on the phone call today? And how many advisors out there you think know these things? Nobody. None of them. So what we do by knowing these things is we can, by meeting with them on a regular basis, cut problems off at the pass. Okay? By knowing how these things work, we can cut these things off at the pass. Does the power of attorney need to be notarized? Yes, it does need to be notarized. So the power of attorney is a living, breathing thing. It's not a static piece of paper. If it's a static piece of paper, there are hundreds of things, not hundreds, there are dozens of things that can be wrong with it. But because we're going to treat it as a living, breathing thing, we can make sure the power of attorney is going to be effective for them and their personal situation now. And if it changes next year, next year. And if it changes again 3 years from now, 3 years from now. Okay? And we're not done with the problems so far. So far, I think we're at 6 problems. Beneficiaries. POD, TOD, and trust for. If you have any of those on your accounts, the durable power of attorney does not allow you to change these things unless there's specific language stating so. So there's, I think 7 now we're at. Assets owned jointly. Joint survivors. You can't alter or amend accounts owned with other people unless specific language says so. Now we're at 7 or 8. Different state. If you move to a different state, you need a new power of attorney. There's another one. Declaration of status. Is this your current durable power of attorney? Does it say so on there? Does it say this is your first durable power of attorney? Does this, if it's not your first durable power of attorney, does it say that is there a declaration in it stating that the original durable power of attorney is now voided? Have you ever seen something like that? We get to the next one. Do you have an exoneration? Agents and durable power of attorneys are now being sued regularly. Did you provide an exoneration provision? I've never seen this, and I've got one on mine, though. I'll tell you what, because I don't want my durable power, my agent, to get sued by some doughhead who just wants to get their hands on my money. So did you provide an exoneration provision? And by the way, advisors are being dragged into these lawsuits, so you darn well better make sure they have an exoneration provision. So now are you all convinced when Jeff says, because Jeff does these 21-point checklists with you, Jeff, how many times do you hear from an advisor, oh, I didn't get the power of attorney because it's fine?
Yeah, it's pretty common for Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things I think that when you're not comfortable looking at powers of attorney or you hadn't used them in the past, you just take their word for it that, oh, I just had this done a couple of years ago, mine's fine.
I mean,
and usually
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
And that's probably not true. In fact, we're sure it's not true.
No, that's right. It's not probably not true. It's not true. What if they just had it done a month ago by the best attorney in their town?
Yeah, it's not right. I mean, it can't have taken everything into consideration. So there is a problem that we'll be able to point out to them.
So guys, over and over and over, I hear people say, well, no, I didn't look at the power of attorney because they just had it done a year ago and it looks great, or they've already got their estate planning taken care of and it's great. No. Is there any doubt in anybody's mind? Please tell me that all the power of attorneys are not wrong now. And understand, when I say are wrong, there is no right power of attorney, because the power of attorney, as a static piece of paper, cannot cover every possible scenario in the future. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these things we've shown in here should be in a static piece of paper as well. I mean, if you look at it, shouldn't the exoneration be there? It should, because that's something that's going to be necessary no matter what. Should you declare if it's a first durable power of attorney or if it's replacing another one? Yeah, that should be there. I don't see those in powers of attorney. Different state. Does it have the fact that joint survivorship can be changed in there? I've never seen that in a durable power of attorney. How about beneficiaries? I haven't seen that in a power of attorney. Is it addressing the fact that there's other institutional power of attorneys? I haven't seen that, and that should be there. Guys, do you see all these problems? Should we be looking at people's power of attorneys, and do any other advisors out there know these things? Now, you know them because this coaching call is posted online, so you can look at this anytime you want to make sure you're looking at these things, okay? Does that make sense? So it pays to have it on record to get their durable power of attorney reviewed. This is a very important tool that we do. Now, we're not attorneys, so we're not going to fix them. We're just going to refer them back to their what? Attorney, or if we have one, if they don't have one, to one of our attorneys. And he's asking, if we do not have, if there is no right power of attorney, how do we help them without putting ourselves at risk? Guys, how do we do that? I've said it 5 times in the last half hour. How do we do that? Somebody, please. Did I say that the power of attorney is a static document or a living, breathing document? What do I mean by a living, breathing document? Review it all the time, RC. Exactly right. Review it, Michelle. Exactly right. So we review it all the time, every time we get together with them. And if there's been a change in their status, if they're doing Social Security planning, we darn well better get what, guys? If they decide to do Social Security planning, we darn well better get what? Here, let me go up. What are we supposed to get? The power of attorney what? What power of attorney? The power of attorney that's the Social Security language. Exactly right, Michelle. Exactly. So if they're doing Social Security planning, we better get the Social Security language in there. If they're a veteran, we better get the veterans in there. If they're going to be dealing, if they've got an IRS problem, we better get what? The IRS language in there. So if they change banks or financial institutions, we better make sure that what? The power of attorney works with that banking institution. We better make sure it's not that institution that requires a new power of attorney every 2 weeks. So it's a living, breathing thing. So how do we make sure it's right? By addressing it on a regular basis. Now, we don't make the changes. We're addressing it, and as changes need to be made, then we refer them back to who? And also think about this, guys. There is something else going on here. Our knowledge of a durable power of attorney can affect our relationship with who? Our knowledge of a durable power of attorney can affect our relationship with who? It can create an awful lot of their attorney, Dale. Good or bad, Dale? Yep, Michelle, attorney. Good, exactly. How many advisors understand the repercussions of the durable power of attorney and how it can affect people? So there's all sorts of good things that can come from reviewing their durable power of attorney. So if you ever come to a training, you'll see me get really excited when somebody tells me, well, durable power of attorneys aren't wrong. Do you get why now I get excited? when somebody says, well, I don't know how we can look at the durable, or how you can say all durable powers of attorney are wrong. You get why I get excited now when somebody tells me that that I can't say all durable powers of attorney are wrong. What's the likelihood I'm going to be wrong if I say all durable powers of attorney are wrong? The likelihood is 0. Exactly, RC. 0. And it's such a powerful tool. So do you get how you can use that to take somebody from a that only wants to talk to you about Social Security and get them into the 21-point checklist? How if you only have sold Medicare subs, how you can go from Medicare subs to getting the 21-point checklist? How if you've only sold property casualty, how you can get them to the 21-point checklist? And what's the importance, guys, of the 21-point checklist? What does the 21-point checklist allow us to do? We have another name for the 21-point checklist. What do we call that thing? It has to do with surgery. What kind of surgery are we going to do with that 21-point checklist? An advisorectomy. Replace their guy, Bill says. Yes. An advisorectomy, Dale. Exactly right. Because once you get them, I don't care if all you do is sell Medicare sup or Social Security planning or property casualty insurance, once you get in the 21-point checklist, just like if we get them from a Think Outside the Box or from a referral, once we get them the 21-point checklist, we're going to be able to get them to find out that their advisor is not doing 18 or 19 things, all of which put them in a worse position, all of which put their advisor in a better position, which means they can't trust their advisor anymore, which means they're going to have to move all their money to you because you know about these things and you've shown it to them. So now you've gone from a guy who says Medicare sup, a guy who's a Social Security planner, a guy who's a property casualty guy, into what? Their only advisor. And if they're coming to you from outside the box, you've gone from somebody who just wants to get their money to a guy who's actually trying to help them and have helped them realize that their current guy is taking advantage of them. So the power of attorney is an awesome tool to get people into the 21-point checklist system if they don't come through the traditional way of a referral or through one of our lunch and learns or Think Outside the Box. With Think Outside the Box or a lunch and learn or a referral, it's natural to go into the 21-point checklist. So you don't have to start out with the power of attorney. It's just natural to go to the 21-point checklist. But if they come into your office in some other way, this is a great way to get them into the 21-point checklist. And at the 21-point checklist, the advisorectomy is the only way you're going to get a client to leave their current advisor with all of their money. Does that make sense? So in the disclosure meeting, the 21-point checklist, when we finally get to the durable power of attorney, here's how we do it. We have a formula for all the things we cover in the 21-point checklist. The first thing is we always get them to tell us why whatever the thing we're talking about is good. So we're going to have them tell us why powers of attorney are good. So if you go to the script, we're going to say the next thing I want to talk to you about is your financial power of attorney. You have a power of attorney, that's good. I mean, I really want to commend you for having that in place. And I guess it'd be helpful for me to start asking, why do people need powers of attorney? And the client's going to say, well, so that people can get their money if something happens, or blah, blah, blah. You say, yeah, that's exactly right. And you say things could continue to be taken care of. What kinds of things are we talking about? Are we talking about taking out the trash, or, I mean, what are we talking about? Making sure the dishes get done? What are we talking about? No, I say, no, the money, the things that we're talking about, paying bills, getting access to the money, etc. And you say, yeah, that's right. And do you think that this power of attorney is more for when things are going good or more for when things are going badly? And then we're going to say badly. And then what we do is then go through a consequence of, I'm going to talk about me getting hit by a car. And if I die, do I need a power of attorney, guys? So if I get hit by a car and I die, do I need a power of attorney? Nope, I don't. Exactly. Everybody's getting that right. So I say, so three things can happen. I get hit by the car and I walk away. I don't need a power of attorney. I get hit by the car and I die. I don't need a power of attorney. Why? Well, because in the will of the trustee. Yeah. But if I get hit by the car and I'm incapacitated, then I need what? Power of attorney. And I go through this whole story about if my wife doesn't have a power of attorney, she's going to be in a hill of beans of trouble. Why? Because most of the money's in my name because it's in my retirement account, and I was the breadwinner, so most of that money's in my name, and she won't be able to get access to it. And she's going to have to go to court. She's going to have to jump through hoops, and then there's going to be costs and blood. So I have them walk through the consequences of not having a power of attorney. But at this point, because they have a power of attorney in this case, they think that, hey, this is fantastic because I already have a power of attorney, right? But then they're going to find out, and again, this is all the little story we go through. So I'm going to get to where, so we don't have time to go through that. But I'm showing you, this script is all online, so you can learn this script. Then we're getting to the point, but advisors only worry about return, but return without availability is worthless. So I go through this little thing saying, can I ask you a question, folks? Well, let me just read you the script because this is a good point we make. So let's say that someone came to me with $10,000 to invest. And I was able to grow that $10,000 to $100,000. How would that be? Well, the client's going to say, well, that's fantastic. Say, right, yeah, I think it'd be good as well. But let's say someone else came to me with $10,000, and in the same 5 years, I was only able to grow that to $50,000. How would that be? Well, I guess it'd be okay, just not as good. Right. Well, it might not be as good, but it's still okay. Because what's my job as an advisor? Well, to help me grow my money. So what we're going to do here, guys, is in this script is we're having them come to the conclusion that the advisor's job is not just to grow money. Because if you ask them what their job, the advisor's job is, they're going to say, well, to grow my money. We're going to have them realize in their own words, no, it's not just to grow your money. There's things that are even more important that they should be doing that have nothing to do with the growing your money. That's the point I'm making here. So they said, yeah, to help grow their money. I say, exactly. But what if you had a choice between the $100,000 account, the 10,000 grew to 100, and the 10,000 grew to 50, which would you choose every time? Well, I choose the $100,000. Yeah, of course you would. You're smart. And why would you choose that? Well, because it's bigger. Well, let me do this then. What if there's a catch though? What if the $100,000 account, when it grew from $10,000 to $100,000, you can never only get that money when you don't need it, but you can never get it when you do need it. So you can only get that money when you don't need it. You can only get that money when you do need it. How would that be? Well, that wouldn't be very good. No, it wouldn't. On the other hand, the $50,000 account, you can get that anytime. Good times, bad times, in between times, you can get that whenever you need it. Now, which account would you rather have? The $100,000 where you can only get it when you don't need it, but you can never get it when you do need it, or the $50,000 account you can get it any time you want it. Which one would you rather have? I'd rather have the 50. But wait a minute, you just told me you'd rather have the $100,000 account. Why'd you change your mind? They're going to say, well, because, what's the good is having $100,000 if I can't get it when I need it? Say, yeah, that'd be crazy, isn't it? Because even though the $100,000 account is more, yeah, but it doesn't do any good if you can't get it. Exactly, I agree. Because growing your money is important, but what's just as important or even more important than growing your money? Being able to get at it. See, now they're saying, oh, yeah, as an advisor, not only should I make sure that they grow the money, but they better have access to it. And the point I'm going to make going forward here is access is even more important during bad times, because that's why powers of attorney are so important. Because when do you use a power of attorney, guys? In bad times. So I'm going to say, and when is it even more important to access your money? During good times or bad times? Because that $100,000, you can get it during good times. You just couldn't get it during bad times. But push comes to shove, when do we need the money the most? During good times or bad times? Well, no, it's even more important during bad times. See, and now I'm going to not point a finger at them, but I'm going to have them conclude that their advisors are bad for not reviewing the powers of attorney. Right, during bad times. And that's the reason I'm spending so much time talking about your power of attorney. What kind of advisor would I be if my clients couldn't get their money when they needed it most? What kind of advisor would I be if my clients couldn't get it when they need it most during bad times? Oh, not a very good one. Yeah, I agree with you. Because my clients should expect that I help them grow their money, right? Because, that's what you have advisors do. But I have to do more than just help them grow their money, don't I? I have to make sure they can get it when they need it most, right? And when do they need it most? Well, during bad times. See, the power of attorney document is really like the key to being able to get your money, especially during what kind of times? Good times or bad times? Well, bad times. Exactly. I won't even take a client without a proper working power of attorney because, again, what would I be if my clients couldn't get their money when they needed it most? Well, you'd be a bad advisor. Exactly. So what have I done there, guys? I've said I'd be a bad advisor, but what is starting to go through their minds? Wait a minute. My advisor didn't go through this with me. He didn't spend any time on this. He'd be. Will all clients jump to that conclusion? No, but two-thirds of them will. And have we said a bad word about their guy yet, or are we just having them start to think, wait a minute, my guy should be doing this too? Okay, so now at this point, though, they think, hey, my power of attorney is good. Because in this example, they have a power of attorney. But I'm saying, see, that's what concerns me because yours isn't working properly. And I say, yeah, I agree. I would be a bad advisor, wouldn't be? And see, that's what concerns me because in a brief preliminary review, I haven't had time now to go through your whole power of attorney with a fine-tooth comb, but glancing through it quickly, there are a couple of things that I can see that would prevent you from getting access to your money when you need it most. So what I'm going to do, why am I doing that, guys? I'm saying, listen, I've only had time to look at it a little bit, but just glancing at it quickly, there are a couple of things that I see would prevent you from getting your money when you need it most. So, you know, I'm going to want to do a thorough review of your power of attorney. I'm going to want to make sure we go through it with the fine-tooth comb. So I'm not going to make any recommendations yet, but I could see right now there's going to be needing a full update of your power of attorney. And when I have time to go through the whole thing front to back, we'll get those things taken care of with either your attorney, or if you don't have one, I can recommend one. So what have I done there, guys? Why am I doing this? Because if they ask me, what do you see that's wrong, I'm going to say, well, I've just only gone through it very quickly, but I've already found 2 or 3 things wrong. I don't really want to get into what's wrong with it yet, because I want to find out all the things that are wrong before I make recommendations. That's the reason I do this here at the end. But what do they for sure? What do they know now in their head? Holy cow! I need to get what? My power of attorney updated. But this little script here that you see on the screen, I do that. I say, hey, I've only done a brief preliminary review. I haven't had time to go through the power of attorney, your power of attorney with a fine-tooth comb. But glancing through it quickly, there are a couple of things that I can see that would prevent you from getting access to your money when you need it most. Now, I haven't had a chance to go through the whole thing, and we're going to want to do that before I make any specific recommendations. But we need to get these things taken care of, because the last thing you want to have is be stuck with you've saved all this money, be stuck where something happened to you, Bill, that Mary, you wouldn't be able to get at it when you need it most. So we're going to need to get those things updated. And again, I want to go through it more thoroughly to make sure we find all the things and get them all fixed at the same time. See, it prevents them from saying, hey, what's wrong? Because do we want to tell them what's wrong? Do we want to say, hey, this needs to be updated? It hasn't even been updated in the last 3 years. Do we want to say that? No, Bill says. Why? Why don't you want to tell them? If you tell them what the problem is, what can they do, guys? If I tell them the problem that I see, what can they do with that? Yeah, then they leave and go back to their guy. Exactly right, RC. That's right. You're all getting it. They take it back to the guy. So all I let them know is they have a problem, but not what the problem is. The only time they're going to get to know what the problem is or get it fixed is when what? They come on board. Mike Bauman's asking, are we also basically saying that their attorneys are no good? No, we do not want to bring the attorney. That's a great question, Mike, but we don't want to bring the attorney into this and imply that the attorney is not good. Because here's the thing, guys. What does the power of attorney address? What do you use a power of attorney for, guys? What do you use a power of attorney for? What kind of things does it affect? Things that deal with what? Powers of attorney mostly, not money, exactly. Money. Who's in charge of the money, guys? The attorney? Is the attorney in charge of the money? Who's in charge of the money? We are. We're in charge of the money. The advisor is, right, Kevin? We're the advisor. So who should make sure the power of attorney is right? We should, as their advisor. Now, when we know that it needs to be right, then we have the attorney actually take care of that for us.
Sorry.
Okay? I can hear you guys, Tricia and Jeff. There you go. So we have to make sure that we're the quarterback and have it drawn up by the attorneys, but we're in charge to make sure that power of attorney is working for all the possibilities. Do you really think an attorney gets all these things that we talked about here, or looks at all those things? Yeah, if you have how much money? If you hire an attorney, you got $10 million, $20 million, $40 million, $100 million, and even then you find attorneys miss these things. Okay? So I've got a question here. Many people don't even have a power of attorney. How do you handle that? Oh, so this is a script, what we're seeing right here. That's a good question. For somebody that has a power of attorney, all we do with them is say, now we don't have a power of attorney. Let's talk about why it's important. So we go back up to the script, and we're going to have them, first of all, tell us why powers of attorney are great. And we're going to tell them, have them talk, there we go. We're going to have them tell us why powers of attorney are needed. And then we're going to have them tell us what can the consequences if they don't have a power of attorney. And then we have them talk about, so we do the exact same thing, Andy, except you just handle it as something that they need instead of something they need to be updated. Okay, client
It's actually, can I?
Yeah, please.
It's actually easier, Andy, if they don't have one, because they're going to come to the conclusion pretty quickly that, gee, not having one is a problem. If they have one, the likelihood is that they're going to think that it's just fine. So that's why the script kind of heavily Not having one is easy. Having one and getting them to say that, oh, the one I have isn't going to work is a little bit harder, and get them to come to that conclusion on their own. That's why the script kind of focuses on that. But it's actually easier if they don't have one.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Thanks. And then Eric's asking, what if in your annual review, again, because it's a living document, you've talked about their situation at the meeting, and everything's still okay with the power of attorney? You don't need to make any changes to the power of attorney. Is it okay just to get that renotarized? Yes, it is, Eric. Then all you do is get that same power of attorney just renotarized to bring it up to updating standards. Does that make sense? Good. So guys, I know I threw a lot of stuff at you today about the power of attorney, but do you get how powerful being an expert on the power of attorney is? It can turn somebody who's not interested in talking to you into somebody who can't get in front of you fast enough. And it converts somebody who thinks that you don't know anything about finances and gets them into the 21-point checklist where you prove to them that you knew far more about finances than even their current guy. Do you get the power of this? And that's why about every 6 months I do a power of attorney coaching call, because dudes, and dudettes, this is by far one of the most powerful tools that we give you, because we can prove that everybody has something wrong with this, and show them that they can't get the money when they need it most unless they work with us.
And can I just jump in there too?
Yeah, please.
When I talk to guys and they want to talk about powers of attorney, I can hear this worry in their voice that, wow, this is a lot to learn. I have to get up to speed on this. And the thing that I would want you to know is that all those 8 or 9 things that Mike went through in the very beginning are really for your benefit. When I get in front of somebody, the only thing I'm looking at is quite frankly, I'll tell you right now, if you look at the date, 90% of the time the date is wrong. And so only 10% of the time am I going to have to look further than the date. And the only thing I really look for then is, do they have, if they have a Morgan Stanley account, do they have Morgan Stanley language in it? If they have a Bank of America banking account, do they have Bank of America language in it? And the rest of the time, they don't. So how long do you think it takes me to look at a power of attorney and determine that there could be a problem with it?
30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds if I'm just looking, if the date's wrong.
And
maybe a minute.
Help them with the date. What do you mean by the date?
If it's more than 2 years old, I know for sure that that's a problem. So when somebody gives me a power of attorney to look at, assuming they brought it in and I'm just glancing at it quickly, I'm just looking at the date. And if the date's wrong, I don't really look anymore. I don't need to look anymore. I might just for theater, but I really don't need to look anymore. If it was done last year, I might have to spend another 30 seconds, so now I'm up to a minute looking to see, are there any institutions mentioned in here? Is their bank mentioned by name? Are there brokerages mentioned by name? Are all these other things mentioned by name? I guarantee you within a minute you know that those things are a problem. Now, I don't tailor my talk about power of attorney to their problems in that agreement meeting. I don't tailor my talk about power of attorney in that disclosure meeting. All I want to know is, can I do my talk? And the answer is yes, the date's wrong. I can do my talk. It took me 30 seconds to figure that out. When will I tailor all that stuff?
When they come on board.
After they're a client. So while they're prospects, it's no work. It's really easy. Take you a minute at most.
And guys, when we say when you're a client, give me a definition of when you're a client. I want to see somebody type that in. When are you a client? When they promise to move the money, or when the money has been moved? After the money is moved, then I will sit down and help them with all these things, because then they paid us to do that, haven't they? And even then, Jeff, do we do any of those things, or do we write them down on a list, send them back to the attorney? So how long does it take to write the list, Jeff?
Yeah, it would only take you 10, 15 minutes to write that list and figure out what that list should be. And we're more than happy to help you with that. But at that point, even if it took you an hour, would you be willing to do it when they moved all the money? Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I mean, it's not a problem. So I don't want you to think, gee, I can't meet with people till I learn this. No. Just the talk is the same at the agreement meeting. No matter what their problem, the talk is the same.
It's the same because guys, if the talk isn't the same and you're mentioning all these things, what have you just told them? You've told them the problem, which they can then do what? Go back to their attorney and get fixed, and then they have no need for you. So the talk is out, as Jeff is pointing out, the talk is always the same because we're not pointing out what the problems is. If we find just one problem, can we, Jeff, say, yeah, while looking at a brief glance through this, I found there's a problem here where you're not be able to get the money when you need it most.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can say that. So you don't go into all of the things that are wrong. You just let them know during a brief cursory review. You haven't done a full review yet. Just during a brief cursory review, you've already found something that will not get their money when they need it most. Does that make sense, everybody? Do you see how powerful this is? So this is a recorded call. You can always go back and look at it and refresh on Power of Attorney, but never, ever, ever let a client go through the 21-point checklist without what? A Power of Attorney. This is a key. It's key to getting them to start to think, wait, my guy isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing. I mean, this is where we start to turn the conversation. In the 21-point checklist, this is where we start to really turn the conversation on their guy is not doing what he should be doing without saying, did I ever say a bad word about their guy in this, guys? Not a word, but they start to think, wait, my guy ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. Does that make sense, everybody? Super. So watch this call again and again if you're confused at all, because this is a very important thing that allows you to, I mean, it will change your business, let me tell you.
Mike, there was just a couple more questions that came in.
Yeah.
How do we renotarize every once in a while? Is it a new signature page? Is it new docs?
To be safest, I think I would just do a new signature page.
And then the other one was, how could you use this to establish relationships with CPAs and attorneys?
I mean, I think the CPAs, I don't know how you're going to use it to establish relationships with CPAs, but with the attorneys, it just happens naturally. Because as you start to send people back to their attorneys or to your attorney, and these attorneys find out all these holes they didn't even know existed, that moves you up from being just this financial salesperson to the real deal. And the more business you send to them with this, the more it's going to move you up in their eyes. So attorneys, it just happens naturally. With CPAs, I don't think you can really do that. However, if you use the golden rule, system that we have, which gets you in front of attorneys and CPAs, this would be a fantastic thing to bring up at your meetings that you have once a month with them. So then that would help very, very, very a lot to move you up in their eyes as an expert versus just a salesperson. Is that it, Missy?
And then the last one just was, does your office renotarize POAs? Or how would you go about doing that?
If you have a notary in your office, you can. Yep. So you could consider getting your assistant established as a notary public, and then you could actually do it in your office. But again, I'd rather send them back to the attorney because it does start to form that, as somebody was asking, the question I was just talking about, starts to form that relationship with the attorneys. The golden rule. What's the golden rule? For those of you, let me just quick go over here to, did I get out of it already? Shucks, I shut out of it. The golden rule, if you look online in the extra systems, the golden rule system, well, I've got time. So those of you who want to get off, but I'll show you the golden rule system. This is something everybody should be doing. I have to bring it up here, and I'll show you where it is here. And it's a system that we're going to use to get in front of attorneys and CPAs. It's something I highly recommend that you do. So I'm going to bring it up here. I'm bringing it up. So give me a second. I've got to move this out of the way. Get in there. Okay. So you should be able to see this. So if you go at the 5Q ES systems, golden system right here. That's how to get a consistent quality flow from referrals, CPAs, and attorneys. What you're doing is it's a way to get you in front of 5 to 7 attorneys and CPAs on a monthly basis doing case studies. And we've only got like 4 or 5 guys doing this, but all of them called the first 5, 7 attorneys and CPAs they called all were in. They didn't have to dial out more than maybe 8 times to get 5 to 7 attorneys and CPAs into these case study groups. And this system shows you exactly how to do that. So if you want to really, this is the long game. It's not going to get you any business for the first 6 months or so, but if you can do this for 6 months and do it for continue to do it past that, you're going to start to see big cases from attorneys and CPAs. It's the only system I've seen that actually works to get CPAs and attorneys to refer to you. So that's the system I'm talking about. And you could obviously bring up powers of attorney and the problems with them during these case study groups. Super. I went a little long. I apologize for that. So, guys, I hope you found this helpful. Again, this is a key pressure point that we're able to use continually through the 5Q system. So I hope that helps. I hope you have a great week, and we will talk to you all soon.